continue to assert that as well. Hi.
Hi.
I love that you're standing on the chair so everyone can see you.
I am here today because I am really into ice skating right now at the Lloyd Center, which is the main rink, and it's getting destroyed. And the closest rink from me is about 25 minutes away, and then the other ones are about 45. So it is very hard for a lot of people and a lot of my teammates at the ice skating rink because we can't really go to a 45-minute away rink 5 days a week or 7 days a week, depending on how much you go. And it's just such a supportive community, and rinks have problems, but it's really inviting, and it's important that we can save that community. And the developer promised us a full-size rink.
Hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like button.
Took the whole rink out, so we didn't have much choice. So we're trying to do everything we can.
Great, thank you. So, one, thank you for being brave and sharing your perspective. It always means a lot more when we hear from our young people, so thank you. Two, this is something we did a video at the rink. We have talked to the developers. We absolutely have been asking questions about this. Many of you probably know this, but I believe deeply in the value of sport and recreation for helping our kids not just find skills and community, but also developing leadership and confidence and so many other things. So thank you for being part of that community and advocating for them. Your case in point for why sport matters, right? And then when you see the Olympics right now, there's burgeoning.
I don't have a try.
So much inspiration, and then
shit is
how that
over
taken
with.
away is really sad. We have been told that there is not going to be a rink as well, and we went and advocated. Our team elevated that immediately. There may be one in Holiday Park that's seasonal, which is not at all, acceptable. We have been told the Expo Center, Jeff, is that right, is planning on having 1 or 2 rinks, but it's going to be after some of the other sport facilities. So volleyball, basketball are going to be the first development. So the Expo Center is then for especially North Portland and a lot of places. So that is Sport Oregon is the developer who's planning on that. I invite everyone who has kids, grandkids, or coaches to please keep our team in the loop, because I raised 2 athletes. There's not enough places for kids to have organized play, sport activities in the city, and it really continues to drive the privilege. If you have parents who can drive 45 minutes 5 days a week, you probably aren't having a parent who's working 3 jobs trying to pay rent to keep the house afloat. And so it continues to give the haves and haves not. And sport is already deeply inequitable. So thank you so much for advocating. We absolutely hear you, and please keep my team in the know about what other ways we can advocate with you, because I care deeply about it too. Thanks.
A comment and a question, but before I do that, I have such hope for the future. How that amongst all the crazy making news, feels like we should celebrate a win. Former Secretary Kristi Noem, you had a part in that. That was and then the question, part of slowing down this crazy train that we're on, for our midterm elections this November, what's the best thinking about party leadership, realistic chances of taking back the House, and fingers crossed for the Senate?
Yeah. So thank you. I did feel a little bit of pride when Christy Nome was fired. I don't wish any ill on anybody, but that was deserved. Sorry. I'm really not a nasty person, but she's a nasty person. So, and this is a official side event.
Can you hear better now?
And so I have to be very respectful that I represent everybody in this community. And so the we, I assume you're talking about is Democrats, and I can't talk about party politics here today, but I do encourage people to get engaged if you're interested in advocating for one area or the other, and make sure your vote is protected. I think more than anything, I'm concerned about whether we will have free and fair.
Can you hear her?
elections. So being sure to stay engaged and advocate for that is something that I absolutely can do on my official side. So thank you. Hey, hi.
Hi, Maxine. How are you doing?
It's good to see you.
Thank you so much for your comment on the no funding to Israel. But the military industrial complex predates Trump by many, many years.
Yeah.
So thinking about only Trump. So maybe you could let me start billions for the war machine, nothing for healthcare. You know, that's the area.
Yeah.
I'm a retired family nurse practitioner working at University Healthcare. I was 4 years adjunct at this in the School of Nursing, which is sadly closed down, went elsewhere. But I enjoyed my time here. But maybe you could speak to the long term, how
Yep.
you will support moving the money away from the military industrial complex to
No, thank
healthcare.
you. Yeah, and this is not, I mean, it's beyond the military industrial complex now. We know that there's insider trading and even, the predictive markets, there were bets placed on actions in Iran, within hours of it happening. People making hundreds of thousands of dollars with inside information about actions going to be taken. And there's many people, including
All demons.
right before this happened, and are benefiting from the fact that there will be defensive contracts that will be increased as a result of this, and they are insider trading without question. And so the first thing I would say is we have to end the corruption in this administration, but it's far beyond this administration. Like, this is something that we have to end stock trading in Congress, period. And the predictive markets are a crazy thing that we do need to regulate, and this is going to be a hard thing, and it's going to impact our tribes and so many other things. So that's a whole nother issue that we need to talk about. But as far as like my values, my values. I am a physician. I'm a mother. There's absolutely nothing about me that wants to continue the amount of investment that we've had in defense, offensive development of military armament for a long, long period of time. The militarization of our police and across this country is because we turn over things so quickly, and then it's there to be used, and they sell it in a yard sale for anyone to buy, and then be used against our communities, whether it's ICE or CBP or the Portland Police. We've seen it. What's that? No, it goes across the world. And so this is not.
We need military and law and order.
Here, but it's across the world that it's increasing the risk for everyone. So it's counter to everything that I believe in. I voted no on the defense appropriations package, and I will on principle until we start really changing where our dollars go. And as I alluded to earlier, we have made the world less stable. And we are going to have a hard.
Good evening, everybody.
With real national security concerns, with our colleagues who are going to say we need to, not get rid of the land-based nuclear weapons that I have argued need to be taken out of service and certainly shouldn't be part of our strategy. So those nuclear weapons, and it is insane that we are doing this. So we need to have a correction, investing in people, investing in the middle class. Our country.
This lady sounds crazy.
The disproportionate power at the top, the monopolies and billionaires that are directing so much of this for their own gain and their shareholders' gain. So breaking up monopolies, making sure that people have access to education, healthcare, and housing. And it's going to take
God bless ICE.
a huge shift in what we as a country invest in. This is not equitable opportunity for all. There is no American dream if you aren't in the high middle class.
No, I just like the sweater.
Right now, because so many people are just struggling to survive. They can't afford to dream to go.
She asked me if I'm ice.
Just trying to keep the lights on, literally. So to your point, I didn't go to Congress and give up my career as a physician to waste my time. My kids and the kids growing up in this country deserve a future, and they won't have it unless they had what I had: a well-funded public school, good public transportation, affordable housing, and a union job that gave me, access to the American dream. And we need that not just for people who look like me, but for the immigrants who want to build a future for themselves. We're going to need them in this economy, and we need to have legal pathways to work here in the country from across the world. And we'll have to reestablish trust for anyone who want to come here at this point. So we've got a lot of work to do. It's a very long-winded question, but less defense, more education.
Hi, thank you. My name is Leah. I live on 15th Avenue. I just wanted to thank you for your great service. All honesty, I supported your opponent in the primary last year. You've really won me over, as well as my family members. I think your communication strategy is working. I saw your Instagram post when I told my mom that I was coming. She's like, "Oh, I saw that email," and I was so disappointed I couldn't come today. So I think you're reaching different generations with different outreach, which I think is really great. And you've been really impressive in the bold and brave stands you've taken, especially on the genocide in Gaza, which is something that so many politicians won't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, the whole Jake Lynn thing is crazy.
Just ask you about, we've heard about education tonight and healthcare and recreation. I volunteer at a local food pantry, and food insecurity is also still a huge issue in our community. With the change to SNAP benefits, it's increased demand. We did have a temporary surge in funding from the last SNAP crisis, but that money's been spent now, and food pantries are again, not having enough resources. So I just wanted to, make sure that issue stays on the priority too. Is important as are the other issues that people have brought up.
No, thank you. No, you're exactly right. At the state level, food and shelter, I said it all the time, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If people don't have food and shelter security, then they can't learn, they can't worry about their mental health, they can't nurture their children. So
A joke, that's what it is.
Expectation that everyone will be fed and housed in this country, and we are so far from that right now. It is deeply heartbreaking. And literally, I was talking with Health Share about the intersection of mental health and housing insecurity right now, and the fact that we are not investing where we know the dollars are returned and taking care of people who are in those crises. So and we also talked with the Oregon Food Bank last week. They were in DC on a Hill Day, and you're exactly right. There's been several food pantries that have actually shuttered, even despite having volunteers. They just don't have the food that they can give. So one thing that, we are working on, and I'm very committed to, and I think it is an opportunity for bipartisan work, is prescribing healthy food. We know that people can't afford, those who are most economically insecure also have the disproportionate burden of chronic health issues, including diabetes and hypertension. And I believe when we get into the majority and are talking about healthcare, that physicians prescribing food, healthy food, we can do it with WIC. We do it, this is something we know how to do as a country, needs to be something that we provide. It's cheaper than prescriptions. You know how to fill it. We need to give people access to healthy food. It supports our farmers. It supports the local supply chain. So that is one thing that I think we can immediately turn on that actually can provide support for our grocery chains also that are really struggling right now. So that is one small thing that we can do, but it really is dependent on our communities right now. Unfortunately, it's volunteers and people giving money to the food pantries and banks that are keeping our communities fed. And
It's almost touching the floor, but it's not quite.
That's the case. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you, Maxine, for your service to our community. And
Pleasure.
so I assume that you have conversations with your Republican colleagues. And
Some.
conversations, are they reasonable? Are they acrimonious? Are they both? I just find myself confused about what their motives are
Me too.
and how they're, proceeding. Is it just about holding on to power? I'm just wondering if you have any insights.
I have a few. I certainly don't speak for Republicans, so this is
No.
my interpretation of what I'm being told or what I'm hearing. Number one, there are reasonable people there. I'm working on a wildfire or a wildland firefighter package with Mike Kennedy, who's a family practice doctor from Utah, and he's a Republican. And he very clearly understands that the swing of the majority is going to continue to change, and we need to find opportunities to work together. So we also are talking about healthcare policy. And that is one area where I see a lot of opportunity because the Republicans and the Democrats have many of the same huge issues.
Thank you for the $20 super
I don't
chat.
know if anyone watches C-SPAN, but when
I'm tired of hearing them too.
the Senate was talking to the insurance industry executives, it was actually the Republicans who were going harder on the insurance industry execs about how they are denying care and really benefiting from the premiums and copays of our working people and denying care and having worse outcomes. So I know that the Republicans, at least on healthcare, are interested in really addressing whether it's PBMs or the cost of prescriptions and other things, access to care. Also, physician ownership of practices and trying to save rural medicine. So there are opportunities there, and these are people who vote in a way that I cannot explain, and yet you can have a conversation that seems very rational. And I think it's that disconnect that really is challenging for me. I literally was talking to one on the floor as we were having a crazy vote that I could not believe that, they were voting to.
What should I ask her if they let me?
There was like almost a fight coming to blows on the floor over this. And I was sitting there talking to a Republican and having a reasonable conversation. And it's just such a disconnect from the impact of what they're doing. And I think part of that is because they are not showing up in community and talking to their people. They're not in town halls where they're getting pushback. And when they do, they're leaving because they're having so much negative pushback. So it's easy if you stay in your echo chamber and don't actually talk to the people you represent to create an alternative reality, which we know our president has done. So to some degree, I think it's ignorance, whether it's intentional or not. To some degree, I think they also feel powerless against this
Alternate
president.
reality, like
Jeff Hurd,
men becoming women.
Republican. He's a freshman from Colorado who challenged Lauren Boebert, and then she moved so she could run in a different district. And
Don't worry about it.
Openly, like Donald
I don't
Trump
need to tell you who I am.
retracted his endorsement of him recently because he
Who
voted
are you?
against him on the tariffs. And Jeff said, if I get primaried and I lose, does my community do better with a farther right wing representative than I am? And I think it's a really hard position to be in. I certainly don't say that, not being courageous is the right way to go, but I can see his logic there. He's somebody who's trying to stay there and wait this out so he can be part of a solution later on and trying to maintain relationships. I do not endorse that. That's certainly not how I would hope that I would lead in that situation, but rational people are making arguments that I can understand about why they're being spineless in this time. Can you introduce yourself so everyone knows?
Sure. I'm Pastor J.W. Matt Hennessy here in Portland. I pastor a church, but I left my Bible study tonight because I wanted to come and hear our Congresswoman. And I want to thank you for your great work in Congress and for having the town halls and other ways that you communicate with us. My question is this, and I pray I was a few minutes late, but I pray that this isn't a redundant question. I'm very concerned when I hear mail-in ballots are corrupt. Y'all didn't hear me, so let me just make sure y'all do. You understand what I'm talking about? Okay.
No. Mail-in ballots are corrupt.
I know the SAVE Act seemed to have passed the House, if I understand it correctly, and is over in the Senate at this point. I just want to ask you your thoughts about the prospect of this. There's been some concerns about the filibuster being set aside, all of those things. My hope and prayer is while there are enough shenanigans that are being played already for the 2026 midterms, that I'm hoping and praying that somehow we are able to still vote the way we have been used to voting.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that there is this kind of corruption going on, and it sickens my heart every time we hear that that's what's happening.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming and also for your leadership in our community. Really impactful for decades now. It is a huge concern. The president, created even more controversy around this earlier this week when he said that he wouldn't sign any bill until the Save America Act is the next one he wants to sign. Now, I was happy to point out to folks that if he doesn't sign anything and we're in session, it becomes a law anyway, so it doesn't really matter if he signs it. But there are opportunities if we're in recess for bills to be killed if he refuses to sign them. The Save America Act is a terrible bill. It's worse than the SAVE Act, which was passed last year in the House and failed in the Senate. There has historically been this bill idea that this is, I think, at least the third time that it's come up and passed in the House and then has not been moved in the Senate. My understanding is that Senator Thune has said he is not going to bring it to the floor.
Yes, it is climatics.
Open up the door to ending the filibuster to allow this to pass. And that doesn't mean that that can't change. We've heard this story before, and when President Trump really starts turning the screws to people, he has a way of getting people to bend to his will. That being said, like this has to be a line that the House has already failed to stand up for this, but the Senate is the chamber that is intended to be the less volatile and the more conservative part, the more protective of our values as Americans. And that is what I'm hearing from Senator Thune, is that it does undermine the whole basis of our republic. And to go even further, it does not explicitly outlaw mail-in ballots, but Donald Trump has said he wants mail-in ballots completely eliminated before the next election.
Yes.
I don't know that that is even in process, but people are certainly talking about it. Yesterday, I was honored to be on a call with attorneys general from across the country, including Washington. And Washington is also a mail-in or a vote by mail only state. And they are very much proactively anticipating different ways to challenge action by this administration. I'll also share that our leadership in the House is very engaged in anticipating what are the different measures or opportunities that they will take.
EDS.
We here can vote from anywhere, and if you are able-bodied, willing, we are going to need a mass mobilization to protect the ballot across this country. And so I would strongly encourage us, to do what we can to go to those areas where they also want to have voter IDs so that they know where people live and where their polling places are so that they can intimidate people going to the ballot box who happen to be Democrats or immigrants or, folks who don't look or, vote the way they want. And that is antithetical to everything about the United States. So whether it's, them trying to get our voter rolls and information or having ICE, at polling stations, there's an incredible risk in this
Yes.
election. And it is the number one line of protection that we have to have for keeping this very tenuous experiment that we are as a nation from failing. Because if we cannot have a free and fair election, then he has won in a lot of ways. And it will probably come to much more I certainly don't want to go to the dark places, but war and other things can absolutely come as a result of rebellion and other things of this. So we have to protect the ballot, and the sanctity of it is really important to me, and I know it is to you. voting at home, you can't be intimidated, so we have to protect voting at home. And
No.
there are, I think, 8 states that are by mail only. They're also going after the post offices. So please make sure that folks know, like, you can send your ballot safely in the mail as far as we know, but it's just take them to a ballot box and drop it off instead. I honestly would encourage people to do it early and get them in, and then help others get their ballots in so that we can just avoid the shenanigans at the post office that we think are probably going to be part of his strategy. I wish I had more like tangible action that's happening, but unfortunately our Republicans are not coming forth with much yet. So I'm deferring to my team so I don't get in trouble for not calling on people.
Hi.
Hi.
I have family in southern Lebanon. And I lived in Lebanon during Israel's occupation, and I lived in Palestinian camps. So I know firsthand what they're doing. Israel and AIPAC have undue influence in our government and in our elections. Will you commit to not accepting AIPAC money from now on?
Yeah, so the same thing's gonna be true. I'm not supposed to talk about the political side, but I have very publicly said that repeatedly. And I'll just say that what I can speak to is my actions, and I have not compromised my values, and I have spoken about the genocide on the floor. I have spoken against defensive and offensive aid. I have actually evolved my opinion on defensive aid as a result of, admonition and the advocacy of our community. My job is to represent the interests of this community, and it's been very clear where it wants to be. And
Thank you for acknowledging that it is a genocide, which.
yeah, no, I spoke to the floor on it.
Wants to say.
No, I gave a speech on the floor about it and had tremendous pushback from some folks. But, the fact of the matter is that the question of AIPAC is a very important one in the stability of our community. And it is where dark money is really disproportionately impacting, but it's even more than that. It is a force in our government that I feel very strongly that we have to get rid of all dark money in our elections. Publicly funded shorter elections is what I think is how we get back to the people. And undue influence, when people give money, they are hoping to influence your vote. And what I can say is that has not happened for me, and it will not, and I don't accept AIPAC dollars.
I have a follow-up question about the SAVE Act, the Save America Act. So it's my understanding that our 2 senators would vote no if this came to the floor
In the Senate, yeah.
in the Senate. So I want to know, because we have most of the legislators in Oregon, I don't know everyone, but most of them, and particularly the senators, are opposed to this bill, either of those bills. And what can we in Oregon be doing if we want to be proactive?
So thank you for that. Like any other issue, my job is to receive the advocacy of the community. It is always the most influential when it is someone who is a voter and a constituent. So you're right that your voice is not as influential with our Senate and our delegation because they already agree with you on this issue. And I think the concerns about ending the filibuster and compromising the filibuster to get through. They do not have 60 votes in the Senate to pass that bill. But if they were to compromise the filibuster, then they could potentially get it through, which is what Donald Trump is trying to assert they should do. So I think number one, making sure that our senators hear you, that you don't want them to compromise in that. Number two, getting involved with other folks, whether it's your family or communities. We have advocacy across the country that is happening right now. And I certainly don't tell anyone what to think, but if you can find groups that share your opinions and can have direct action in other communities where the awareness may not be as clear. I think that's important. This
It's
is
definitely gonna go
it's a political
through.
influence question, which is why I'm being a little bit careful, because your rights to express your opinions are absolute. And my job is to listen to also not to make people feel like their opinions are also not appreciated. So I'm sorry if I'm not telling you to, which groups to get involved with, but there are advocacy groups who share your opinion. Getting involved in those and helping elevate those opinions is important. If you write to another senator, it might help if they get a lot of letters, but most of us just look for constituents from our voting base and our constituency base. So they may notice, but they probably won't feel much, to do. When I make comments that make people really mad, we get, unfortunately, an onslaught of calls to our office from outside of the district, and our team has to deal with those, and it's challenging for them when they have to answer phone calls when people are mad at me, but we don't really pay much attention if they're not from the district.
I have a lot of concern and am angry about how the tech billionaires are out of control and they're undue influence. I'm wondering if there's anything we think that Congress can do to protect the privacy and other rights that seem to be taken away by these greedy people.
So there's so many different areas where this is true, and it's not just the tech billionaires. Like we've heard of, the report that there was a Doge employee who then went from Doge with Social Security information about people in debt, may have shared it with their employer. So the security and safety of our private information is something that I'm very concerned about, and we should be regulating much more vigorously. But as AI grows in influence, like we lose our ability, because we can't even, Congress is a very, very slow moving body. We can't, respond to something that's a 10-decade-old problem right now. I am hyperbolic to a certain degree there, but we're very slow. Trying to respond to real-time challenges with AI is really going to put us in an impossible situation. And some folks are saying that AI should be regulating AI, which also is insane. The first thing I'd say is billionaires are a policy failure. Like we just shouldn't have billionaires in this country. Like that is only bad for people. So disproportionate power due to money is being used. We also know that 17% of campaign contributions are coming from billionaires now, and that was less than 1% prior to Citizens United. So those folks are protecting their interests by influencing the outcomes of politics. So again, we get back to the dark money and getting money out of politics. That's one way. And then shareholders and the public have the ability to use their dollars and who you support and what programs you buy. I think there are some real movements towards, Costco's doing well, Target's not doing so well. How do you do that when chips, you don't necessarily know what chip is in a computer, but you know what program you're going to buy or what app you're going to use? I do think us educating ourselves on who is behaving in a way that is thoughtful and protective of people will put pressure on these businesses who want to have a base of support to behave in a different way. It's hard to do with tech because you don't actually know where all of those things are. Anthropic, the Iranian girls' school being bombed may end up being a result of AI and the lack of control by humans. So finding these places where we really need to focus and regulate is my job.
I want to ask a question.
It's going to be tough for a while, but I think tech companies disproportionately have an interest because of the money being made right now in the stock market. AI is ruling the S&P index, and we have to break up monopolies and we have to divest people from these huge conglomerations of wealth. So I'm in the Monopoly Busters Caucus, and we did this in the Gilded Age. We have to do it again. We have to billionaires are a policy failure, breaking up the monopolies and getting back to people controlling the market is what we need to do. Was that this is the last one, John? Yeah, it is. Okay.
Thank you so much for being here
Yeah.
and for the positions you're fighting for in DC. Going back to the puzzling question of why so many Congress people are abdicating the power in favor of a man who clearly is not thinking at an eighth grade level. It's hard to imagine that they think this is going to turn out well. What we've learned about Epstein may provide a partial explanation. I imagine some of them are blackmailed. Mitt Romney has said that many people in Congress are afraid for their families and that they're going along with Trump because of that. According to Wikipedia, the Capitol Police have jurisdiction nationally to protect congressional families. So my question is, why aren't there the votes? It wouldn't take very many Republican votes to get a veto-proof bill to beef up the Capitol Police so that members of Congress have the option to vote their conscience without feeling like a mob is going to attack them.
It's an interesting question, and it's true that the Capitol Police, like when we are doing events, they vet to make sure that we have sufficient security and different things.
Yeah, she did.
Ironically, the Republicans really fought us on increasing security allowances for members of Congress this session. And this has become a prominent issue at different times right now. Yasmin Ansari is having death threats. She is the only Iranian American in Congress, and she took a very courageous position in being against this war, even though she knows the impact. Her parents fled as refugees. So she does not have the ability to pay for sufficient security right now. And she has constant threats. Ilhan Omar has gone through this repeatedly. This is true AOC. We're sharing ways of dealing with this amongst ourselves and trying to figure out how to stay safe rather than having Capitol Police, and really the speaker has to lead the desire to improve security for members of Congress. And I don't think there's that much concern for them right now because they're staying in line for the most part. So you're right that might help. I will also say, like, most of us don't live in a bubble. You walking around with security is not really, I have no intention of living that way. So I think there will be people who would refuse that and would still take care of that. I've heard that. I've certainly heard it from my colleagues. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she legitimately resigned in no small part because she was fearful for her and her family's security and her grandchildren. It's crazy.
I think I'm gonna.
I have that, compassion for her because she has been so hateful in so many ways. But I think she really has been trying to be more brave and felt like she had to leave Congress to do it. I can't speak for other people. So I wish I could say what it was that was going to create opportunity for people to find their courage. And I will continue. You guys will see it, any of you on social media, I will get criticized for saying that my Republican colleagues and that we need to work across the aisle. And I refuse to dehumanize anybody. I think that we are on the path we are as Americans because we see like there are people it's okay to dehumanize and others that it's not. We are all people who want safe communities and to raise our families in places where they can have opportunity in the future. I've only taken care of people. I've never taken care of Republicans and Democrats in the hospital. Like we all bleed the same and we all have fears the same. So you will not find me dehumanizing my colleagues. I can't speak for them. I do know that they are not being courageous in this moment. And I don't know that why, but I do think a lack of awareness of what other people think may be part of it. When you sit with people through their fears and their challenges, I think you have a different perspective. So showing up is the number one way that we do it. And I hope that my colleagues will start showing up in a different way. And until that happens, I will continue to build relationships and try to help them see it from the perspective of you all. And thank you for helping me have that information and that insight. And thank you for showing up. And I will continue to do the same and get out there and fight for each other, because right now it's community that's going to get us through this. Thank you.
Can you tell us why requiring voter ID is a bad thing?
I'm sorry, sir, we just adjourned.
No, I know, but you can't, it's a simple question. Like, why is it a bad thing? You would think that secure elections would be a good thing, right? IDs, so you need IDs to do everything else, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yes, they provide free IDs all over the place. You can, if you're low income, you can get free IDs. Yes, you can. Homeless people have IDs. You need an ID to do everything, lady. You need an ID. They're like $25. They give out vouchers for free IDs for everybody that requires it.
Women who've changed their names.
That's what a birth certificate for and a marriage license is for.
What if your parents?
That's just an excuse for fraudulent activities in our elections. Voter ID is common sense. Voter ID is common sense. They do. It's $25. Go pay for it. Yeah, it's $25. Go cry about a $25 ID. Our elections should be secure. Voter fraud is a very big problem. Illegals are voting. Illegals are voting in our elections. That's why you guys don't want. That's why you guys don't want voter ID. You guys don't want voter ID because you want illegals and criminals to be able to vote in our elections. Yeah, you guys are the fraudulent ones. Look at this old folks home. Go back to your guys' old folks home. It's pathetic. It's just a big ass echo chamber in here. That's all you guys do is repeat the same bullshit.
I've tried to get
Yeah.
ID for so much.
Yeah. Why is voter ID bad? Are you trying to say that black people and minorities are too stupid to get IDs to vote? Is that what you guys are trying to say?
I'm talking to you.
Absolutely pathetic, bro. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Pathetic excuses of humans, dude.
Liberal women are the death of America.
Yeah, white liberal women are the death of America.
Why she's mad at that? Yeah.
What a joke. What a joke. Absolutely nothing accomplished. She just repeated herself like a dolphin. Absolutely nothing. Why is voter ID bad?
This must be going on your website.
It's going on my YouTube. Yeah. Why is voter ID bad?
Doctored up to make the rest.
Why is voter ID bad, bro? Do you have a brain cell of your own?
Books, so why?
Do you have a brain cell of your own to tell us why voter ID is bad?
Jeez.
No.
Every time you get divorced, you have to change.
Well, you need an ID. You got to change your name. You need an ID. You go. That's very easy to do. A birth certificate and a marriage certificate. It's very easy to do. Are you trying to say people are too stupid to get IDs to vote? People are too stupid or what? That's just insane to me. It's just insane to me.
Participation trophies for.
Participation trophies, bro. We got the old folks home, going back to the old folks home for lunch. God bless ICE. We need more funding for ICE.
Freedom
That's
and
for
liberty
sure.
are not participation trophies.
No more funding for illegal aliens. Give all that tax dollars to ICE. Yes.
I'm self-employed.
God bless ICE. More funding for ICE. Yes. No more tax dollars for illegals. Give it to ICE. Triple their pay. Fuck it. Deport them all. Every last one. Deport the white liberals too. I'm an amazing human. I'm standing up for my country. I'm standing up for Americans. Americans first, Americans only, white liberal lady. DEI is deport every illegal.
That's what I told her. She said, "What job are you afraid of them taking?" What?
Oh, shit. Absolute ignorance is what that was. I knew she wasn't gonna answer. As soon as she heard my question, she was like listening, and then she heard my question and she didn't have an answer for it. Yeah, on this country. Yes, thank you, Andy, for the $20 super chat. You're absolutely right.
White and white liberal men. Might as well just say all liberals are the death of this country.
No, that was just pathetic. Yeah, I'm not parked in here either.
Yeah. So that was
It was sad, bro. She didn't answer. You know, I just logged into the get.
and you
Yeah.
get on. Okay, yeah, yeah. I forgot it, but that was good. Touch it. The win.
God bless ICE.
It's over. So
I hope you guys find Jesus. Find Jesus and pray for Americans, not the illegal aliens, right? Are you on that side too?
all good, all good. You can block. Yep, there you go.
Oh, well, I'll just tell them. I'll be like, oh, I forgot. I'm just walking through here, I think.
Don't yell at me. I gotta.
Don't yell. I didn't even know this was a school here, man. We should come here during the day. Look, this is,
To be able to actually come when there's class and being able to,
yeah.
they got a common area. Again, it's
Yeah, University of Oregon in Portland.
And,
Oh, you're this way?
and yeah,
We'll walk with you because I don't want to walk directly to my car anyway. I'll walk the long way. BLS Doom Crew, what up?
yeah.
It was absolutely pathetic, you guys. I knew right away, soon as she looked at me after I asked the question, I knew she wasn't gonna respond. She was like, "Oh, that's too hard. I don't have a direct answer for that." Yeah. Well, no, I had to yell it. I asked them like, "Hey, let me speak," and they said, "Oh no, this is the last person." Ask where you guys were from. They're like, "Oh, what's your?" No. She's like, "Who are you?" Yeah, she was like, "Who are you?" Because I was talking to my chat I had my thing on the table. As they were talking about looking me up. I was like, don't fucking worry about who I am. Street Rother, $20 super chat. Keep it up, Tommy. Thank you, bro. J Maddox 923. Well done, man. Did you know? Yes, I do. Twam, baby, twam.
The ID. Yeah. What do you ask her, Tommy? What was the question again?
I said, what makes voter ID? Why is requiring voter ID a bad thing? Like everybody has ID. You need ID to do everything. It's like, what about people who get women who get married? Well, you have a birth certificate and you have a marriage certificate, and you take those to the DMV and you say, hey, I got married and I changed my name, and then they'll give you an ID with your changed name on it. Crazy. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple.
Common sense works if you actually use it. Oh my God, there were no difficult questions that were asked. They were just pandering to her. Yeah. There was nothing.
It was pathetic.
It was stroking her and like, yo, thank you, Maxine. Thank you. Already saw the question.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just ridiculous ass questions. You need an ID to fly. You need an ID to get EBT. You need an ID to get EBT, to get healthcare. You need ID. Like you need ID for every fucking thing. I think I'm just right down here. No,
We're on the side road. I don't know.
no, we can walk.
Well, it's right around here.
Yeah, it's around here
I tried to
somewhere.
get John to take my hat off and then but whatever. Whatever. I'm like, my head's getting
All right, we'll see you later.
I'm good.
Like a landscape now.
Let's go.
To see you again.
Oh,
Same matter. Being able to do
that was pathetic. We got here a little bit later than I wanted to. I kind of wanted to get here before they all went in, but the traffic was hella bad and we had to go pick up Tinkerton. So we got here like 10 minutes late.
It wasn't. We didn't really miss much.
Nah, it was absolutely pathetic.
Yeah. No hard questions. They were all just simple.
We all knew it was gonna be dumb because it's Maxine Dexter.
Yeah.
She's like
Yeah.
the white version of Kamala Harris.
Word salad.
Word salad wonder.
Yeah, and another thing is she could have easily answered your question.
Yeah, she could have easily answered
With
it.
that question.
It's not a hard
It
question to
was
answer if
quiet,
you know what you're
nobody,
talking
I
about.
just
Yeah.
asked you a question, human being to human being,
Yeah.
you can't answer me just because
It's because I'm
your
wearing this
political
hat and this
ideas.
sweater.
Sorry.
I'm wearing this hat and this sweater,
That's the
and they
argument.
all hate me.
Yeah.
And I fucking love it.
Love every minute
All
of it.
scripted questions and answers. It's just another echo chamber.
Yep, it was an echo chamber. They're all clapping like for what?
My chat was like, clap and do the seal. That's fucking funny.
The thing is we need to continue to push on things like that. We need to go.
MAGA and A. Tommy is a boss. Give a super chat. What a bro. Thank you, bro, for the $1.99.
They know, they saw us there. They saw us moving around. They were like, she was aware of it. There were times when you could tell she was
Watching
having
me
a
the
hard
whole time.
Yeah.
That's why I was getting close.
Yeah.
I got super close, and I could get the whole crowd. I was over there flexing and doing the selfie.
And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, she was like, "Who are you?"
Yeah,
I said,
go to more
"Why does that matter?" She's like, "Who are you?" I said, "I don't got to tell you who I am." She said, "Yes, you do." Bitch, no the fuck I don't. Who the fuck are you?
We have to show
Are you my mom?
we have to show
Are you my fucking mother? God bless Ice. God bless you, sir. Oh shit, it's a big puddle. God damn.
That's why we have boots.
My boots are made for walking, and I don't know where we parked. One of these days, I'll pin my phone in. Where did we park?
This is the parking lot.
Where? Oh, where? Oh, maybe I know.
There, dude.
I think we're over here.
So that's free, but this is
Yeah, this isn't where. I didn't. Maybe it is right here.
it's the other side. Otherwise,
Oh, I got back asswards. I got back asswards. Oh, maybe it's over here.
we're getting a little extra.
Exercise. Oh, that bike's just sitting in the rain. Damn, he needs a tarp.
They're having brain malfunctions.
Oh, that's easy for them to do.
Yeah.
Their brains don't work as it is.
Short circuiting.
Yeah. I got an appointment at the DMV tomorrow. But we should go. We should go to somewhere tomorrow.
Are we good?
Are you muted?
Why?
Yeah, we can put on the sign
voter
like,
ID bad?
why is voter ID bad, or why is ICE deporting illegals
Yeah.
bad, or
Yeah.
something that'll
ICE would probably get more
catch more attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking, good idea.
All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit. I think I'll go live from home for a little while tonight
All right, guys.
and watch a couple videos. But I'll see you guys when I get home.
More, just keep